WAQ Show. I'm your host, TJ.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Dan.
And another little gaming episode. We're talking about the company Blizzard. And that I like them mostly. They've faltered in ways. But apparently I've missed out on some falterings as of late.
Yeah, for everybody that just cringed when TJ said he likes Blizzard, he's been living on a rock, he doesn't know anything. We're gonna fucking destroy his perceptions of reality.
Yeah, so TJ, just to kind of very quickly and rapidly bring you up to speed here. So some shit came out with Blizzard, and apparently they have an extreme and long-standing habit of misogynistic corporate behavior, and a fuckload of current and previous female employees have come out saying they have experienced prejudice. It is frat boy culture. It's the good old boys club, and basically just it has not been a good place to work as a woman. And I believe the state of California is like suing them over it.
Yep.
Basically.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's not good.
Yeah. This is a quote from a previous Blizzard employee, I guess, that I have pulled up here. Quote, "A lot of women at Blizzard, we talked about this stuff happening. We would therapy session with each other about it," Scarlett said. "None of us felt safe to report it and felt there were so many instances where if we told somebody outside of our group of friends that was having a similar experience, we got told by other coworkers that it was not a big deal or that we were overreacting or that it was a compliment."
Oh.
Yeah. Not only that, but apparently there's like... Oh, God. I'll see if I can find a news article so I'm not talking out my ass about it because I don't know too much. I kind of saw all this starting and got super disenfranchised with the company, which is really awkward because before all of this started, about a week before, making it very clear to all the listeners, before all of this came to light, meaning I had no way to know or no idea, I applied for 3 different positions at Blizzard. One of them, I heard back that they filled the position immediately before all of this came out. And then all of this happened, and I made the decision that even if they contacted me, I would not be taking this job at this point. Since then, another position has, air quotes, been filled. I sneakingly suspect they're simply not hiring right now. And I have not heard back about the 3rd position. But regardless, I will not be taking those jobs until this clears up.
So did this happen after I had asked you if you had decided to apply or not?
So we had the conversation. I did it fairly shortly after the conversation. You asked me recently about it, and that's why my response was it was something like, even if they contacted me, I'm not taking it, or some shit like that.
Yeah, I had no idea that's what it regarded.
Yeah.
I thought you were just like, nah, I'm not feeling it right now. You're definitely not feeling it.
What was the...
Oh my gosh.
God, what was the guy's name? The child show star who turned out to be a creeper?
Bill Cosby.
That one, yep. Hang on, Blizzard, Bill Cosby.
Yeah,
Suite.
So they have a room that they like to go to. They call it the Bill Cosby Suite. They claim that it's because the wallpaper looks like an ugly sweater. But they also like to bring women there to do whatever the fuck they did. And in light
That's
of
terrible.
the Bill Cosby things recently, not a good look.
So it's allegations of sexual harassment and discrimination at Activision Blizzard. Just for clarity of what the official case is referred to herefor as.
Activision Blizzard? So does Activision own Blizzard too?
That happened ages ago, yeah.
Yeah, that's been a thing for a while.
I forgot.
But yeah, apparently they have this thing called the Bill Cosby suite, and although they're claiming that, which I didn't know, Matt,
Yeah.
they have a giant fucking picture of Bill Cosby in it.
Yeah.
Well, this picture was from BlizzCon 2013.
Yeah, I think that's pre Bill Cosby's a piece of shit too.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I mean,
I don't fucking know, man.
Yeah,
I hope a lot of people lose their jobs then.
There is a pretty significant component of this. I would not be surprised, and do not interpret this as me defending this crap. But they're kind of. I mean, the suggestion is this has been going on for some time, which is a problem. But the issue with situations like that in general, not specifically this, is the further back you go, the more muddied things are, from just like a psychological, this is how memory works perspective.
Yeah.
Which is a problem, because the truth about what is actually happening, what has actually happened, needs to come out and needs to be fixed, but that becomes very difficult when it's been going on this long. Like, I think the successful approach for reform in this situation is focusing on the recent and the immediate. If you try to focus too much on the past, then it's more likely it will be refuted, which is a problem because it very clearly is real. I mean, you don't get this much volume of evidence and claims if it's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, like you were saying, with the muddiness and everything of the past, it would just help them with the present to try to cover things up or make it seem probably less than what it is and stuff like that, or at least prolong trials and stuff like that so long that, not that it would be insignificant, but like I feel like a lot of things would need to be solved now.
Yeah. On top of all this, I don't know if you've heard, I doubt it, TJ, but there have been like mass Blizzard walkouts. There are people refusing to do work until shit's fixed. So I know you were just talking about, I hope, because we were like, TJ, do you know about the Blizzard stuff? And he was like, no, what's going on? And we were like, oh fuck, you don't know, TJ? And he was like, as long as it doesn't delay the release of Diablo 2, I'm fine. I assume your opinions on that are different now. And also, I don't know, it probably has been affected. I imagine most of their games have been affected.
Another wonderful thing about this whole situation, and that was sarcasm for anyone who couldn't detect it.
Yeah, /S.
Is so as people at the company started refusing to work until these allegations were investigated and brought to a close and yada yada, and just dissent and ill repute and all of that happening, I believe it was the CEO, I don't know, one of the higher ups, some of the higher ups made the call to hire a union busting organization to prevent employees from banding together.
Yep.
I don't know if you completely understand the gravity of your situation, executives at Activision Blizzard, but that doesn't look good, guys.
It's like literally the worst thing you could do. We did our employees wrong. They're trying to get together and have some sort of semblance of community. No. Stop.
Not even we did our employees wrong. We committed sexual harassment in the workplace. Let's make sure they can't do anything about that. That's basically what that's saying. Use your fucking brains. This is actually like the most investigation I've done into this topic. I kind of saw it was happening and immediately flipped to like, I'm not getting involved with this company. I'm not getting involved with this situation. I'm gonna let the people who have the power to do something about it do something about it. And if anyone asks, I voice my support, of course, with human beings should be treated as human beings. It doesn't matter who the fuck you are, what the fuck you are a human being. You deserve to be able to work in a place and not have to deal with that kind of crap.
Definitely.
But reading some of these articles about this during the episode, because the show's the WAQ show, so if I came in qualified, what the hell? Apparently, the investigation is relating to like some images of chat rooms and stuff have been brought up. Another image from the same Facebook album shows a screenshot of 2013 group chat called the BlizzCon Cosby Crew. In it, former Blizzard designer David Kosak writes, "I am gathering the hot chicks for the cause." Brigham replies, "Afrasiabi." These are all quotes before anyone has a problem. "You can't marry all of them, Alex," Kosak writes. "I can, I'm Middle Eastern," responds Afrasiabi. Jesse McCree, currently a lead game designer at Blizzard, then writes, "You misspelled fuck."
Oh.
So, I'm just gonna clarify something here. Realistically, this is probably not a serious conversation. Holy mother of fuck, I hope it's not.
Yeah, for real.
And, human beings are human beings, and dipshits are dipshits, and goofballs are goofballs. If you had this conversation in a private manner and it was all clearly joking with a couple of your very close friends, you're disgusting, but it's your private conversation. You're at a fucking corporate event? These are your fucking coworkers? What the fuck are you doing? Like, Jesus Christ almighty.
Yeah, I'm looking at one of the stories right now. I completely agree. It's
like,
I can't even fathom that, to be honest.
There's all kinds of people that it takes to make the world turn, and if it's your private conversation, not even associated with anything, and it stays there and you don't actually do anything with it, the point is no one's gonna know. In that situation, you can say whatever the fuck you want because it's not gonna affect anybody. The problem is, like, it even talks about this Afrasiabi guy or whatever. People have evidence of him just openly hitting on coworkers and like asking to marry him and random shit like that. And it's like, dude, that's such an aggressive work environment. Like,
yeah,
if you
I just want to say a quote that I just found from their head of technology department.
Mm-hmm.
Don't sleep with your assistant, but if you're going to sleep with your assistant, don't stop.
What
wow.
the fuck?
Like, what?
God.
I don't.
It's so fucking disgusting.
So just for my own personal sanity, usually when something gets this bad that it's like, nope, something definitely happened, I don't really need to have an informed opinion to know that something definitely fucking happened and that Blizzard is the piece of shit here. I usually like bow out. I'm like, all right, I don't want to know more. Blizzard sucks. If a piece of this situation arises where I feel like I want to have an opinion other than fuck you, you misogynist, sexualizing pieces of shit, then I'll look into it. So I haven't been looking into this much. I've just kind of been like, alright, that's happening. Fuck. God, the world sucks. And just hearing all this shit, it just gets worse and worse. And fuck.
Ooh. Employees who spoke out were often targeted in retaliation, including being deprived of work on projects, unwillingly transferred to different units, and selected for layoffs. That's fucking illegal as shit.
Yep.
Now,
Yep.
I also just want to kind of throw in here again, just to keep repeating this over and over before anybody loses their freaking minds. I haven't seen any of the specific evidence. This is all from articles from like The Guardian, Bloomberg Technology, The Washington Post. This is technically secondhand information. I am not associated or connected to the truth of whatever's happening in any way, but this is the information that is publicly available and is like coming up top on news searches. So before anyone chooses a fucking hill to die on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we said before, when you have this much information, some of it's true.
Yeah. Oh, I found that assistant quote. Jesus Christ.
So I wonder. Now it gets kind of complicated in a sense. And you guys don't have to answer this, but are you going to stop playing Blizzard games for a time?
I mean, I have the easiest answer to this. I didn't really play Blizzard games before.
So I kind of suspected this question might come up, and I have thought about this. So some things that I will point out is, although this is clearly a systemic problem and requires a complete overhaul to answer, not every human being at the company is guilty of this.
Yeah.
Just for clarity, particularly the 20% of the employees that were women who were victimized. So boycotting the company, things like that, is also injuring those people should they choose to not leave. Just as a point. And then I would imagine, knocking on wood, I have, again, no evidence of this, but I would find it pretty shocking that the other 80% of Blizzard's employees are all guilty of it. Now, you can argue the no such thing as an innocent bystander, shit like that. But realistically, there's probably a couple of people who are like pretty low on the totem pole, didn't know anything about this. There was probably that one guy who was nice and polite all the time. Like, not the entire company is guilty, but it is the company who is at fault for allowing this stuff to happen, for clarity.
Right.
But to your specific point, I don't pay for World of Warcraft anymore. So the games I have, I own. And I've already paid for it. I'm not giving Blizzard any more money. I'm not giving them any more publicity. The only thing I'd be doing is padding their statistics. So I guess technically it could impact their stock value. But hey, guess what, Tiger? That's not doing so fucking hot regardless.
Yeah.
So I guess to your point, if I were so inclined, I probably would still launch up one of the games to go play it. Would I do anything that would provide them more money at this point? Not until I see some actual change.
That's how I feel too. I was just curious.
Yeah.
You laid that out very well. Thank you.
Yeah, like, will I play Diablo 3? Yeah, if you want to go play some Diablo 3, kill some demons, sure. That doesn't cost any money. That doesn't do anything. I'm not going to deprive myself because of some piece of shit culture at some garbage ass, like, you know what I mean? But I'm not going to buy loot boxes in Overwatch. I mean, I'm not playing Overwatch anyway, but if I were, I wouldn't buy loot boxes. I'd probably consider stopping my World of Warcraft subscription, but that game's kind of gone downhill for the past 5+ years anyway. So if you haven't already, what are you doing?
Yeah, WoW was dying before this happened. Final Fantasy XIV was killing it, and now they just decided to like accelerate it.
So, yeah, I mean, to be completely honest, I've like kind of grossed out talking and reading about it more. Like this is not my favorite episode. Now that we're in it, I'm gonna level with you.
Yep.
So yeah, in 2017, the ratio of men to women was 4-1 at the company. All of the high-level executive positions are held by white men. I don't know why they brought race into it. We can transition this into fucking misinformation in articles and biases still coming out. We could transition it to that if you're interested. Not specifically Activision Blizzard.
Yeah, that works for me.
Which, to be fair,
I think.
Oh, go ahead.
I think we've pretty much covered this issue.
Actually,
there isn't much like.
So we could save the biases in news and journalistic writing and stuff like that for a whole episode. I just realized this would be perfect to pair with the Tencent Games episode we wanted to talk about.
Yeah, we could just swap to that.
That's fine.
Because this shit's depressing.
Yeah. And for context, I will go on record and say this, and this was, again, well before any of this was at all even possible for me to know in any shape or form. I'm kind of devastated at this. I wanted to work for this company since I was like 10 years old. Like, it was my dream. I literally chose my college courses based on their job descriptions. So to have this happen and to see something that I supported so much and had such high hopes for and was just enchanted by, and just see it be this pile of festering dog shit and this complete disrespect for human beings, it's kind of really depressing and soul crushing. Like, I was devastated when I saw it come out, and I'm like, I'm so upset that these people would do something like that. It's really sad.
Yeah. I'm with you too, because that's always been one of my, like, if I could work for a game company, Blizzard was up there.
Not anymore.
Now it's down there on the ground under my foot, stepping on it.
All right, now let's hit him with that fat transition. Oh, you got another?
I wanted to add
Okay.
one more thing. If you're, for whatever reason, I know our fucking audience isn't massive, but if you're a Blizzard employee right now, I'm sorry, we can just transition to a new topic, but you can't get out of this. Or if you have, it's like far more difficult. And I hope we give some semblance of comfort in not thinking about it. Sorry, this episode was right back to your shit.
I mean,
I really hope you get through this as a person.
if we're sending a message to Blizzard employees, if you're one of the fucking pieces of shit that's doing this and that has caused this, what the fuck?
Yeah, fuck you.
Fix your fucking shit, asshole. If you're not one of these people, and you know if you are or not, this is not something you unknowingly fucking did,
right.
just for clarity. If you're not
Yeah.
one of these people, I'm so sorry for you and your family. Like, find another company to go support and be creative there. This is not okay. Like, I don't want to see Blizzard disappear, but I want to see it new. You know what I mean? I want to see it torn down and rebuilt from the ground up. Maybe something like Lightforge Games, if you haven't heard about that company.
I haven't.
They're a company that was founded semi-recently by a lot of previous like game titan companies. And people who have kind of had their time in the sun and moved on. They've come back and created Lightforge Games, which I'm hoping they're being very careful and building a very healthy culture. For reference, all of their positions are work from home positions for start, which I feel like a work from home employee base is highly less likely to fall into this shit.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
What's that company called again?
Lightforge Games. I applied to work there too, but they weren't interested at the time.
Gotcha.
I know a bunch of higher ups at Blizzard were leaving to make other companies. Hopefully they don't just make a new steaming shit pile.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious, because it's one of those things where, you know, it probably was present for some time, but that's not necessarily attributed to all of the people all of the time.
Yeah, no, I'm sure some of the people that left to make a better company. I'm sure some of the people that left are shitbags and they just wanted more power.
Yeah.
I find it. This will be good for transition. Are you guys pretty much done
I'm
with all
done.
that then?
I'm
Yeah,
done with
I mean, the last
Okay.
5 minutes have just been me saying, "Hey, stop fucking up, you fucking assholes," kind of thing.
Yeah.
So.
Which I agree with wholeheartedly. My transition is because we're gonna go to Tencent Games, who owns part of Blizzard and Activision.
Okay, let's level this out here. Tencent owns 5% of Blizzard. That's not a majority
No.
share. Just for
I know.
clarity.
But for me, not so much, because before we get to, I wonder how much Activision will do to help clean up, because they're more invested, because they have games that run through Battle.net now, specifically the Call of Duty franchise.
Yeah, and I mean, even if the most extreme thing happens and Blizzard is like completely dissolved, that doesn't mean that the products they've made aren't going to be supported by the parent company. The parent company is just going to have a lot of fucking work to do.
So that'll be interesting to me to see play out. But yeah, you roll right into Tencent Games and the fun show that they are.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, Tencent Games is kind of one of those shadow parent companies that is behind a disturbingly large amount of an industry. So like there's only a couple media conglomerates, there's only a couple news conglomerates, and they're like they own a majority of the world's production for those things. Like, this is not a mystery, this is known. This is what, people bitch and moan about all the time. Tencent Games is one of those, but I feel like they're not recognized as that by the community at large. For those who don't know, Tencent Games is a Chinese, here we go, I'll use the appropriate, the official. Tencent Holdings Limited, also known as Tencent, is a Chinese multinational technology conglomerate holding company. So basically, it's a company that owns other companies. They're involved in a lot of different things, not just gaming, but gaming is definitely one of their bigger pieces. They're most widely known for owning Riot Games. Like, they own 100% of Riot Games. Them being a Chinese company, there used to be articles online about this, but I am suspicious that they were taken down. But admittedly, there is a piece that may have been there is a chance that the articles I'm going to talk about in a second were possibly misinformation that has since been clarified. But I swear to God, years ago, Tencent Games sued themselves. Like, Tencent Games sued Riot Games when they owned a majority of Riot Games. Like, I swear this fucking happened.
That did happen.
Yeah, because Tencent made a game that was disturbingly similar to League of Legends. Like, one of Tencent's child companies made a game that was basically mobile League of Legends, I believe, more or less. Yeah. So Tencent sued Riot. Yeah, it sued itself in confusion, essentially. Did you find the article?
No.
Okay.
No, I'll start looking though.
No worries. But yeah, and this could have been maybe misinformation, and the lawsuit was in the correct direction or something. But regardless, either company they sued, if it was Riot or the other one that made mobile League of Legends, essentially, they owned both of the children companies. They were effectively suing themselves on behalf of one of their child companies. Is the weirdest shit ever. And it just, to me, that shows a distinct lack of coordination and organization on a corporate end, which is comical as fuck. Yeah, I mean, I've got their list of foreign gaming investments specifically, so this isn't all of their investments. I think we all kind of looked at this. For those curious, they have 100% ownership in Riot Games, Funcom, Leiyu, and Shark Mob. Funcom sounds familiar.
It's some Sega Genesis style type stuff.
So Funcom is best known for massively multiplayer online role-playing game titles Age of Conan, Anarchy Online, and The Secret World. Which I've heard of The Secret World. I think Age of Conan is I'm not actually sure.
I think it's one of their biggest ones, Age of Conan. I've heard of that.
Okay.
I've seen it.
So that's Funcom. So those are not small companies. They have majority share in something called Miniclip. I did not know this, and this is kind of shocking. January of this year, they have majority ownership of Clay Entertainment, which I fucking love Clay. They're responsible for things like Griftlands, Shank. I think they did Mark of the Ninja. Matt would know.
Yes.
Yeah, they
Oxygen not included.
Yes, ONI. They're responsible for a lot of pretty awesome ass indie games. So I'm a little bit shocked that happened.
I was shocked to see how much they own of Epic Games.
Yeah.
Yes, they also own a fair amount of Epic Games. They're a 40% stakeholder there. I'll just go down the list and mention any notable ones. So Supercell and Grinding Gear Games, I'm not familiar with them, but they have 80% or more in those. Don't Nod, they have over 20% in ownership of Don't Nod Entertainment. Bluehole, they have over 11%. Frontier Development, they have 5% in Activision Blizzard. They have 5% in Ubisoft France, 5% in Paradox Interactive. They own a non-determinate amount of Discord and Roblox as well.
Not Roblox.
Yeah. Hey, I got stock in Roblox. Y'all need to buy more Robux. Dude,
that's a good one to buy stocks into. That's
yeah, they're actually an IPO. They went live this year.
Nice.
If I ever got back into streaming, I was thinking about this. I'm like, I feel like every other stream I'd want to do like a 5 to 10 minute portfolio update and just like share what I'm investing in with the stream.
That'd be cool.
I just thought that might be kind of fun.
Dude, if you had a large enough following, you could totally like
blockbuster that shit.
Yeah,
that'd be helpful to
sway the market more than a single person should be able to.
Yeah.
If you just became known as like the stream/finance guy,
be interesting.
That'd be awesome. I wonder too if Tencent will, after everything's said and done, end up owning more.
Oh, that's how
of Blizzard.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. I mean, hell, if they wanted to, they could buy a pretty large amount. Actually, you know what? Let's make the dream a reality. I'm gonna pull something up on my phone here.
Are you gonna buy 10-cent stock?
No, I'm gonna look at what Blizzard stock is at right now.
Because I'm sure they could just step in and be like, "Yeah, we'll take this over.
We'll be having that."
Yeah, we'll clean that up real quick.
Now, personally, and this has nothing to do with what Tencent Games has done in any way, shape, or form. I kind of hate the idea of conglomerates and holdings companies. I don't really like the idea that somebody just owns stuff and they don't really do anything. I don't like large connected webs of companies. I kind of wish there was just a bunch of little companies.
Let's see.
Dan found a thing.
So there actually, it's not as bad as it looked. It's dropped. Each share has dropped about $10. For reference, the COVID drop for Blizzard was like 17, somewhere around 17.
I'm guessing the more that comes out, the more it'll drop, though.
Yeah, I mean, most likely. I'm actually kind of shocked at how much they recovered after COVID. I sold too early. Damn. Well, no, I didn't, because now look at it.
Yeah. That's something I want to get into, too, is stocks and stuff. I don't understand enough to...
dude, we could do a whole episode on that, too. Like,
that'd be a good episode.
I was so frustrated about it. Once I finally looked into it, and I'm like, oh, that's all it is. So I'll save it for that, but yeah.
Under Matt's point, though, the conglomerate thing, I agree, but I don't know with Tencent Games. I don't know enough about them to really judge them.
I mean, like I said, it has nothing to do with what or how they're doing anything. I just don't like the idea of companies that own companies, and that's all they do.
Wait, what the fuck?
I think Epic Games should live or die in its own merits. I think Blizzard should live or die in its own merits. Like, the idea that Tencent Games could swoop in and buy Blizzard, I'm not a fan.
That's true. That's fair. I see it as some of the companies that can't get started and may never have gotten started without them.
Yeah.
It's
weird to me. Go ahead.
This is a very broad way to put this, but I kind of feel about this the way I feel about when Peter Parker fucks up in Spider-Man Homecoming with that big ship, and then Tony shows up and he's like, all right, give me the suit. And he's like, I'm nothing without the suit. And Tony's like, if you're nothing without the suit, then you shouldn't have it. Or you shouldn't be a hero or whatever. I kind of feel that way about this. If you can't get your company started without somebody else being your company, was your idea really that good?
Well, yeah, it's different. It's basically, it's just money. If you need
I mean,
5
there's a
million to
difference
get
between
started.
investments and ownership. And I understand that people that want to invest want to get something back, therefore ownership. But I guess if Square Enix wants to invest in a company and give them a head start, that's fine because Square Enix is doing its own thing. It's companies whose only job is owning other companies. That's what I have a problem with. If you're Square Enix, you're making games, you're making Final Fantasy and all that shit, and then also you see this cool little company over here and you're like, I want you to do better. Here's some money. I own part of your company. You're like a Square Enix subsidiary. That's fine because Square Enix is still doing its own stuff. Its only job isn't to own companies that do things for them. You know what I mean? That's what I mean.
Yeah. I just see it from the way of the other side, where they're like, but you're going to fund us. So that's fair.
Yeah, I'm not
like their mindset. So I think that's how it gets started.
I'm not begrudging anybody for taking money to do what they want to do. I'm just saying, I personally am not a fan of people that are rich enough to buy companies that will just generate money for them while they do nothing.
Yeah.
People and companies that are rich enough to do that.
That's why I said I don't know what Tencent Games does for those companies, because I saw a thing where Riot Games was suing, and then they dropped the lawsuit, and then Tencent Games stepped in, but they won the lawsuit.
Yeah,
they had no power to do so.
Like, I could be wrong. Tencent Games could make their own games, and then they don't fall in this thing that I've assumed they are, and I look the fool.
All right, we're bashing on it pretty hard, but there is this one line. Like I said before, they're invested in a lot of different things. They're very much a diagonal investment conglomerate, because they're invested in television and cinema, comics, music, video streaming, e-commerce, utilities, medical. They're even partnered with some like automotive stuff. Just to show that we're playing both sides of the field here. We're not just beating the crap out of something. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Tencent helped source 1.2 million protective masks for American medical staff combating the virus. So they're not all monsters.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think that's a big piece of it too, and this becomes more relevant the larger you as a person and you as a company get, is that kind of giving back expectation. When you have so much liquid resource, so much money, so much access, so much sway, giving a little bit back, at least a little bit back, is kind of a big deal. You know what I mean?
Yep. It's to go back to Spider-Man. When you have those kind of abilities, when you have that kind of money, and then things happen that require money to deal with, and you don't do anything, it's not your responsibility to do anything, but it's also like you could have stopped it. So what the fuck?
Yeah, it's that no such thing as an innocent bystander thing.
Yeah.
It's definitely interesting. It's really weird though, because like this is a pretty common phrase in relation to Tencent. Just looking around the internet a little bit, they're not very good at innovating. Which I guess makes sense. If they're a conglomerate that's about acquiring other people's shit, they don't need to make their own shit. They don't need to be innovating. The problem is they kind of infect the companies they own with that behavior. So the companies they own just kind of
safe thing behavior.
They just kind of copy other people's shit.
I mean, if you get down to it, that is League of Legends is a copy of another game.
Yeah,
Here,
it is more
I-
popular Dota.
Yeah.
This might be this might be easier for one of you to figure out because you have more of the information that I would just be looking for myself. But I'd be interested to know at what point in League of Legends life did Tencent Games acquire them? And from that point on, TJ, do you think that they have done more innovation or less?
So they first invested in Riot in February 2011. They
Yep.
reached 100% in December 2015, if I'm reading this chart correctly.
So
Yeah.
from 2015 on, do you feel like League of Legends has been more samey or more new?
Definitely more new.
Okay.
Only, I mean, because you just have to look at everything from a total. Because they started to take League
Like,
of
when-
Legends. It's different. They've always tried to be innovative. Riot's
Yeah,
always tried.
Because I know
medias and
at
stuff.
some point they started remaking a bunch of the old champions and they started revamping a bunch of the old shit that had kind of just been sitting there. Like, the map's different, all the items are different, the store's different. Not all the items are different, but you know what I mean.
I
They've
mean,
revamped a bunch of shit.
The launcher redesign was heavily needed. I'm in support of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of things. I mean, but with the innovation stuff too, they've come out with 3 new games that stem around League of Legends. You got Valorant. Well, that Valorant doesn't stem around. That's like its
I was
own
about
thing.
to say, I didn't
But they have-
know that.
The card game.
I mean, I will
Um,
throw out there, Valorant isn't exactly innovative.
That's fair.
Yeah,
It's Overwatch meets CS:GO.
CS:GO.
Yeah, and it's just a bad game,
But-
in my opinion.
God damn.
It's a spicy opinion. I've heard good
There-
things. Not that I want to play an FPS, but
I will also throw out there though that copying the principles of something isn't always a bad thing. Like,
Right.
does it show a lack of innovation? Yeah. I'm not going to say no. That's literally by definition. It is not innovative. It is not new. It's a new combination of things, which isn't always bad. Things don't have to be new from the ground up all the time, but when your entire portfolio of shit is cutting and splicing other people's crap together, it kind of looks bad.
But you know the main source from whom they steal from is Blizzard, because the other game is like Hearthstone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Hearthstone stole from Magic, but what card game doesn't steal from Magic? Let's be real.
yeah,
Yeah.
no. One card
Um,
game to rule them all.
I miss
It's just-
Spellfire.
It's just I find it interesting because that came about. League of Legends came about through Warcraft 3, which was Dota.
Yeah.
So it was a game made within a game, then taken out. Because that came out before Dota 2, right? They released before Dota 2, I believe.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
So-
yeah.
So isn't Dota 1 like the original only works as a mod, and then Dota 2 is the actual we made a real game?
Yes.
Is that how
Yeah.
that works?
Mhm.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I believe the people that were on Dota, some of them went to go do Dota 2, and the others went to go do League of Legends. So they had different visions on how to make that game.
Okay.
Which we all know I love League of Legends, so, you know.
Yeah.
But they've tried to do more with, like, stories, and they paired with Marvel and tried to do a comic. They're always trying to do things.
They
I mean,
published
even-
Smite.
Yeah. Even when I hated and refused to play League of Legends, and I still am not very fond of and don't play often League of Legends, I've always said that the things that they do with their world and their characters is the coolest part of that game.
Which is funny because it has nothing to do with the game, truly.
Yeah, that's why it's the best part. That was mostly sarcasm, but it does kind of correlate.
Yeah. It interests me that they needed Tencent to come in and take over 100%.
I think they just...
I don't know if needed is the right word.
Yeah. I assume somebody else owned the company, And Tencent was like, we would like to own the company. Here's a fat stack of cash. And they're like, yes, I will take fat stack of cash for company.
Yeah, which is sad.
I mean, you seem to still like the game. Why is it sad?
See, that's actually the point I was going to bring up. Sorry to jump in here, but there's a fascinating disconnect between the choices and behaviors and general moral compass of parent companies and the end user product and its users. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Like,
Oh yeah, for sure.
like I'm sure Tencent is not the, you know, golden child of moral decision making within corporate global actions, but that doesn't impact your average League of Legends player like at fucking all. So there's a question of why should you fucking care
Yeah.
at a certain point.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter if Tencent Games is, you know,
At the point it
Christ.
matters is when it matters.
yeah. I guess.
Which probably will never happen.
It's when your dollars are supporting something you don't agree with. But
Which is the
yeah.
best. Which is the best with League of Legends because you don't have to put $1 into it. You don't have to.
I guess it's then your word of mouth. If you don't agree with what Tencent's doing, but you want people to play League with you,
Yeah.
then you can't control all the people who they're gonna tell and they're gonna tell and they're gonna tell from not putting money into the game.
Nowadays, yeah. But not in the beginning. Because Tencent had nothing to do with them.
Yeah, well, they do now. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
Yeah.
And it's like you have to ask yourself, like, is that a bad thing? You know,
I don't think so. Not
is what
necessarily.
a bad thing.
like that disconnect from parent company corporate scum world and end user. Like, using basically what's happening is Riot Games is the label on League of Legends, but it's still Tencent calling the shots for Riot Games for League of Legends. So really, League of Legends is a Tencent decision at this point. But Tencent doesn't get the flack Riot Games does.
Right.
And
And-
isn't that
and in most-
necessarily in some ways that's a good thing.
And people don't even know Tencent exists.
Exactly.
For League of Legends, like the majority, I'm sure.
And Riot Games is a more concrete, more conceptually feasible thing for people to communicate and interact with. Because you're not going to get someone from Tencent on the phone when you call customer support. But at the same time, if you have problems with Riot Games can't do anything about it. They're literally a middleman as an entire company. It's very fucking weird.
So, based on the way you portrayed that, and I'm gonna say this out clearly so that you can tell me if I'm interpreting this wrong. Are you saying that Tencent Games makes the decisions, but Riot makes the game and deals with the consequences, and this is not necessarily a bad or a good thing? I personally think it's a bad thing that the person that makes the decisions ultimately doesn't have to hear or deal with the consequences.
I mean, I agree with you, but they would. Like, if Riot Games, or if League of Legends were to completely go down the shithole and everyone stopped playing it, Tencent would. They just have to deal with high-level consequences. It's kind of like, think about it this way. Think of it on a lower scale. Tencent is your manager, Riot is your team lead, and the end user is you. Your team lead makes decisions and gives you instruction. You execute. And what the team lead is doing is fulfilling the goals as directed by the manager. So when you have a problem or you can't complete something, you present it to your team lead. Your team lead is then charged with solving it, which they need to do at their level or lower until that's not possible. Then they get the manager involved. So the manager is only in charge of high-level decision-making and thus is only suffering from high-level consequences. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's basically, yeah, it's taking the interpersonal corporate relationship of employee, team lead, manager, and blowing it up to the scale of a company and the end user base.
I just don't like the idea that realistically Tencent games could make... To put this in an extreme view, Tencent games can make Riot make changes to a character so that it better suits and plays in the Chinese market, and then the players can hate that character because of the changes that were made. And we can not know that those changes were made because Tencent made them happen, because I assume Riot's not allowed to tell everybody, hey, we were going to do this, but Tencent said no. And then we give Riot shit. I don't like that idea. I don't like the idea that Tencent can tell Riot what to do, and then Riot can't tell us what Tencent told them to do, and then we get mad at Riot.
That's true and fair. But the one thing we don't know, and I just want to clarify for people, no one knows except for Riot and Tencent, but they could have contractual things that don't allow Tencent to tell them certain things.
Yeah,
even though they own the whole company.
And while what you're saying is technically possible with the constraints and stipulations TJ has brought up, I don't think they would really realistically do that on that level you're talking about. But I get the principle you're saying.
Yeah, for sure.
And I do agree. I think it's completely unfair that a decision made by the manager causes frustration in the end users, who then beat up the team lead, or the employee that then beats up the team lead about it. I don't think that's fair, but I think that's exactly what happens in an office.
Yeah.
The difference of the Office Space example of this situation is the team lead can explain to you that the manager said it has to be this way. To your point, in a corporate sense, they probably aren't allowed to say Tencent twisted our arm about this.
Yeah.
So I agree that I don't like that, for sure.
Yeah. I can imagine Riot Games being like, yeah, but Tencent said this, and then everyone's like, well, yeah, who's Tencent? Like, okay. Yeah.
I know 50 Cent. But yeah, so global corporatism is fucking weird. Could go on and on about it. Tencent is secret shadow mogul of gaming world that people don't really know about. And Blizzard needs to fix their shit.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of a small summary there for you.
There we go. And we're the WAQ Show.
I would like to end this on a positive note. If we could all just name a company that we're like, hey, I like what this company's doing. I don't know if we all have one.
About to plug the company I work. I'm just kidding.
I was gonna say, my own company?
Yeah, TJB Studios. Big fan of what they're doing.
Dude, those guys are dope. If I had to need photography for any reason, I'd probably go to them.
No, in reality, I do like this idea.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of one. Riot
yeah, I'm
Games.
pulling up Steam.
Yeah, two come to mind. Well, I'm gonna buy you guys some time.
Thank you.
Actually, 2 or 3 come to mind, but I think you'll probably pick up the third one here. Red Hook Games, or Red Hook Studios. I really like them. They've done a good job. I haven't heard anything negative come out from them. Their communication with their end users is fucking awesome. Their support of their community is great. Big fan of Red Hook Games. God, I hope some scandal bullshit doesn't come out a week from now. I'm gonna feel like an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you do this, Matt?
I had the thought when I said it, like, just caveat, we don't know what's happening on the inside. We just see their output. We don't hear bad things.
Yeah. So Red Hook Studios, and a lot of that stems from their community support. Like, they're very good at that. And then Chucklefish Games. Chucklefish Games is the publisher for Stardew Valley, for those who don't know, and a few other kind of farmy, wholesome indie game things. They just it's probably an extension of the kinds of games they publish and support. But like they took a game one guy made and they helped make it this huge fucking phenomenon. That's got to be at least a decent company, right? They at least know what they're doing. And again, I haven't heard bad shit about them. So those two come to mind for sure.
For me, it'd be Bungie. I really like Bungie games.
Do they still exist?
Yeah.
Oh.
They run. I mean, their big thing right now is Destiny 2. They haven't really come out with like new games, but they always have been really good with the fan bases and stuff like that. Communications. As far as I know, I'm not a big Destiny player, so I don't know much into the game itself, how that goes. But they were always like alongside Blizzard before all this. Bungie was like, I'd love to go work with Bungie in the Halo days. But they still seem to be like a very good company.
That's cool.
I got a couple too. Yacht Club games. They make Shovel Knight.
Yo, Shovel.
This is a big company, so just because of the episode's topic, I feel trepidatious saying this, but Insomniac Games, they made the original Spyro games. They made, and I believe still make, the Ratchet and Clank games. They made the recent Spider-Man games. And I just, generally, when they put out a game that's on brand for them, I have a good time with it. And Ghost Ship Games, which is a little company that's only made one game that we've been very happy with before, called Deep Rock Galactic.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what game they make next. I don't think they're done with this one yet.
I expected you to bring up Squeenix. I think that's one of those where it's so big there's got to be some shit going on.
Well,
right?
I personally have problems with Squeenix. I don't like that Tetsuya Nomura is in charge of anything over there.
What about EA, guys?
All
EA
right,
games.
and before we get even more ridiculous, let's wrap the episode up.
This has been the WAQ Show. I'm your host, DJ.
I'm Matt. What a whack episode it was.
I'm Dan.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.